Obviously, if you're watching this video, you've been looking at the new Harley Davidson series, their new lineup of e-bikes, which is really interesting. I'm really excited about it. I'm really curious to see what they look like and ride like in real life. They're not out yet, obviously. We've gotten spec sheets, we've gotten videos, teasers of them riding around the city and all that. So all I want to do is go over my thoughts and opinions on the Rush City Speed. It's one of their highest priced models and highest spec models. If you're new to this channel, I'm Johnny Nerdout. I'm a professional e-bike builder, mechanic, electric motorcycle builder, enthusiast, solar panels, just self-sustainability. I'm into all that stuff, and I'm a pretty chill dude. Let's go right into the specs and what I think about them. It's got a 706 watt-hour battery. That's pretty good. It's nothing crazy. It's towards the middle of the road as far as capacity goes. They could have gone way bigger. They could have gone smaller, but I think 706 watt hours is a decent sized battery. Expect between 20 and 40 miles range. Less if you're just riding it really hard, more if you're pedaling it more. But realistically, I'd say it's about 20 to 40 mile range. Got a belt drive. I love this. I love that they're using a belt drive. I think it's gonna add to the longevity of the bike. It's less maintenance. I wish more manufacturers, I wish like Shimano and SRAM started adopting this. It's less money for them because belts, they never break. Chains break all the time, but belts, replace them every, what, 10,000 miles? There's no money in that. But I love that they're doing this. It has front and rear racks built onto it, which is great. I mean, you could use this into a cargo bike. You could actually use this to go run errands and do deliveries and things of that nature. I love when a bike is built with utility in mind. It's got integrated brake cables, which just means that they're internally routed through the frame, which is really nice. It means that it's gonna look really nice. It's gonna look clean. It's gonna be, just means that it was well thought out. The frame was thought out. They didn't just find some crappy, already existing frame and just tried to make an e-bike out of it. It's gonna use a 250 watt Bros motor, which has 90 Newton meters of torque. I really wish they didn't skimp out on this. I know Bros makes good motors, but 250 watts, that's leaving so much on the table. You could see that they were clearly trying to make this a world bike that they could make one platform and just sell it worldwide, but here in the US, it's 750 watts everywhere. Some places it's 1,000 watts. So I wouldn't want to leave that power on the table. I really hope that they come out with a new version of it. Otherwise, you're gonna have people that are buying this $5,000 bike and then upgrading it, hot rodding it, putting a Bafang on it or something else to get that extra power out of it. So that's disappointing, especially with this price point. It's gonna have auto shifting CVT rear hub. That's interesting. We've seen, those bikes have come out before in the past and they've sucked, but I don't think that Harley Davidson is gonna put one of those old crappy auto shifting bike hubs on this bike. So I'm really excited to see how that performs and how well it works, especially how it holds up over long-term use. I'm expecting that they've worked out all the kinks of it. It's Harley Davidson. So that's exciting. And hopefully it'll get trickled down into other bike manufacturers will use that. It's gonna have a 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes with 203 millimeter rotors, and they're heavy duty rotors, so they're thicker. They're gonna be more like a motorcycle rotor than a bicycle rotor. With the 4 pistons, that just means that thing is gonna grab hard. You get a lot more stopping pressure on those rotors, and they're big rotors. This is just gonna equate to better stopping. It has front and rear fenders, which is good. So if you ride in a wet weather condition area, it's gonna keep you dry. You're gonna be thankful you got those. I love it when bikes come with front and rear fenders built into it. It's got a rear mount kickstand. That's nice. You don't really ever see a center mount kickstand anymore unless it's aftermarket. But if you have had those, you know they kind of suck. It's better to have the kickstand in the rear. It's more stable when your bike is held up in the rear. It's got front and rear headlights with a head tube light, which I don't know what the head tube light is, but it sounds kind of cool. Be interesting to see what that does, how it is in real life. It also has a brake light, which is really cool. I really wish most e-bikes had a brake light. I mean, there's already getting electric signal from the brake to cut power to the motor. Why not just send a little extra, I'm sure it's just like some sort of software programming to just hey, programmed to make the rear tail light a little bit brighter. It's just safety, so people know you're braking. When you're going 30 miles an hour, then you go to 0 miles an hour in 10 feet, or however many feet, I mean, you should know that that vehicle is slowing down. So I like that. I really hope that more e-bike manufacturers follow suit and do that. I think it's a great way to go. This is kind of cool. There's a glove box inside the frame. So they made, it's like a little cargo compartment in there. It's designed around the Abus Bordeaux lock family. So I guess it's going to be designed to really hold, I think they're folding locks just kind of neatly in there. So that's kind of nice. I like those locks too. That's what I personally use on my bike, is the Abus Bordeaux folding lock. So yeah, that's all the specs that I found on Harley Davidson's website. What I wish they would have done is, to this bike, or I hope they add options for it. Obviously, I wish the motor was more powerful. I wish it was 750 watts versus 250 watts. I think that's, when I read that, I was like, what? Why are they doing that? This is a Harley Davidson motorcycle company and they're watering it down to 200. I know for some people you're like, that's plenty power. A little bit. Yeah, it is. It's still good power. I'm not complaining, but why not just bump it up to 750? I kind of wish it wasn't a rigid front fork. They show the video of this guy like ripping around, jumping off stairs and stuff, and I'm like, yikes, man, that looks like it hurts. I want a front suspension with like a lockout. You don't have to do a full suspension, but maybe something like a saddle seat post suspension would be nice. I don't know, but I would definitely like a front fork suspension with a lockout, especially for $5,000. I'd also like to see a 52 volt battery on this, going back to my more power. I'm assuming that they're using a 48 volt system. It doesn't really say. That's just what I'm assuming. But yeah, I'd like to just maximize what you got. Use a 52 volt system, use 750 watt battery. The other knock I have on it is the price. At $5,000, you're definitely not getting $5,000 worth of bike for it. I think $2,000 of that is for that little Harley Davidson sticker that they're gonna put on it. You could easily build this bike with all those components for less than $3,000. But yeah, you're paying for that Harley Davidson sticker, and you're gonna probably pay $2,000 to have that sticker put on there, which sucks. Value-wise, there's definitely way better values out there. You could get a Saunders electric motorcycle that would blow this thing out of the water in every spec possible for the same price, which, just to put it in perspective. But I like how this bike is using a lot of cutting edge. I don't know about cutting edge is the right term for this, but smart things like belt drive, continuously variable transmission in the rear hub, like things like that you're not seeing on any other bike. And I really like that they're using these things. They're putting a glove box in there, putting a brake light on there. There's a lot of things that are just smart, and I really like it. I just wish they could put the price down a little bit on this bike. But other than that, I'm excited to see this bike, ride it, and yeah, if you got the money for it, you got $5K that you could spend on a bike, yeah, I'd recommend it. But if you're looking like, yeah, I really only have like 2 or 3, or should I save up another year and get that bike? No, I would look elsewhere. All right, hopefully you guys found this entertaining. Now enter your hateful comments below. And yeah, thanks guys, see ya.